everybody, Denny here. Hey, this is going to be a different kind of video. I've said many times that we're going to be doing product reviews, and this is one of those times. Now, this is dealing with watercolor paper, and watercolor paper can be very, very pricey, with Arch being the top of the heap for price, and it is also arguably the best paper that's out there. However, not everybody can afford Arch paper at $60, $70, $80 for a pad of it. So I have been looking diligently, trying to find a paper that is very close to it and good enough for a professional to use, and also very good for an amateur or a student. And my search has led me to this watercolor paper right here. Now I've got a 5x7 pad, and I'll just hold it up. And it is Baohong watercolor paper. And this pad will cost you about $15, and the pads go up in price to about $30 or $40. You're going to find them very easily on Amazon. And I'm going to review this paper. It says on the container here that it's 100% cotton, okay? It's a cold press paper, which means it's got a slight tooth to it, which is something that is very desirable in watercolor paper. And this is in a block. Now, I prefer a watercolor block because it eliminates having to stretch the watercolor paper. That means to soak it and then put it on the board, tape it down, and let it set for hours, if not overnight, to be ready to use. Most people, like me, and like you, I'm sure, would prefer to paint when they're ready, not when the paper's all dried out, okay? And with a watercolor block, it's glued on all four sides, and like that, okay? It's glued on all four sides. And what this does is this allows you to paint right away quick, and the paper won't buckle, and it won't bow or anything else because it's glued down. And when it dries absolutely flat because it couldn't buckle to begin with. Okay, that's the advantage of a watercolor block. Yes, they cost a little bit more than individual sheets, but it's a trade-off. If you want to take all day and sometimes all night to get ready to paint a painting that you're inspired to paint right now, then do it the traditional way. Just get the paper, soak it, tape it down, and let it dry, and you can paint. Or you can use a block. Just pick up your block, set it down, and paint. Now, the price difference, it's kind of made up for when you figure you've got to buy artist's tape, which is $4 or $5, $6 for a roll, sometimes more. So it evens out, and it comes down to personal taste. I've used a lot of regular sheets of paper, and I know what it's like to have to tape it down and wait and wait and wait. I've gone over to the watercolor block, and this comes in a block. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go now to run this paper through its paces. Now, unlike some people, I'm not going to do this and then that and then this and then that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what you do. I'm just going to paint a picture, and I'm going to run all the tests as we're painting the picture. So just be with me as I go ahead and paint a painting on our piece of paper. And oh, just in case you were wondering what this is for, this little device, you poke down, there's a little hole at the top of the paper, you poke that down in, it gets between sheets, then you just move it around like that. And what it does is it releases the paper so that you've got it ready to frame. So let's go ahead and get ready, and let's run this paper through its test. 140-pound cold press 100% cotton paper. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and paint. And here we go. Okay, now I'm just taking some plain water, And I'm just putting it on the surface of the paper. And this surface, it's a hard feeling surface, and that's a good point. And I don't know whether you can see it or not, but I can see the shine of the water as it's going on. And the water is holding on the surface for a little bit. And that's a good thing, because that means that the paint is going to be suspended up there so that we've got time to work with it. I'm just taking some ultramarine blue, okay? I'm just putting the ultramarine blue on. And I really like the feel of the paint as it goes on. The paper isn't drinking it up, and that's good, because I really don't want it to. I'm making a graduated wash as we're going down here, okay? And I'm just checking to see what kind of a graduation we can get, or a gradation, as we go down the paper. And what I'm seeing, I'm really, really liking. Now, one of the things that we want a watercolor paper to be able to do is to lift paint back off. So I'm coming in with a clean brush, okay? And I'm just lifting some paint, okay? I'm just lifting it, okay? And this is one of the ways that we would make clouds, okay? So I'm just making some lifts off of the paper, just like that. And I'll tell you what, it has passed the lift test. Now, we'll come back to this a little bit later when this is dried down, and then we're going to see if we can pull it off, if we can pull the color off, okay? Now, we're going to take that same ultramarine blue, okay, and just going to put just a touch of a neutral black in it. And that's just going to gray it down just a little bit. And this is something that we want to do when we're doing mountains. We want to grade color. Okay, we want it grayed down. Now, let's put something in here that may just indicate some hills out here, okay? Now, I've got that in, now I'm going to come in. It's essentially the same thing that I did with this guy, as far as being a graduated color as it's going down on there, okay? We're just going to take that down just like that, okay? And I'm liking it because the color went on and it's staying where I want it. See, I can take the bottom here, because it hasn't soaked into the paper. I can take the bottom and I can just kind of haze that bottom out a little bit. And there's a little bit of blending going on up here, right up here, and you can see that it's making the appearance of treetops, but it isn't going very far, very fast, okay? And that is a real good feature that I'm impressed with. It isn't going totally bananas on me, and I don't want it to do that. I want it to remain under control, okay? I just want a little bit of treetop. Now, I'm taking some yellow ochre, okay? And I'm going to grab just a touch of olive green, and I'm going to put that in there. Okay, and I'm making this into a very, very light yellow green, okay, which is what I want. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to scrub that light yellow green in here. Okay. Now, I'm working what they call wet on dry, and this can be kind of dangerous. because with an inferior grade paper, you can end up with horrible hard lines. Okay, now I'm just blending that bottom out, and the paper is working magnificently. It's allowing me to blend that out. Okay, just like that. So far, this paper is working beyond anything that I could ask for. Now I'm going to come back into that yellow-green color, and I'm going to come in here, and it's going to be a little more intense. So let me put a little more of the yellow ochre into it. Okay, I'm going to pull this in here like that, and I'm just going to leave some lines out there just like that. Okay, and the paper is leaving me some little white marks, which is, again, it's something that I really like. Now I put some blue in that. We're going to come in here, and now it's going to darken it up even more. Okay, and again, this is almost like a dry brush blend going on here. And again, the paper is responding. It's allowing me to do this. It's not fighting me. And this is exactly what I want a paper to do. Okay, and it's getting a little more intense as we get up here, like this. We get just a little bit of water in that. Okay, getting a little more intense. I can find nothing wrong with the way this paper is responding. It's responding to a dry brush blend, a drag. We can use this to indicate foliage, okay, and we can also use it in a waterscape to indicate sparkles on the water, wave action and such as that. But for right now, we're just using it to give the eye the impression that there's some foliage in here. Okay, and it's okay for there to be those white things. I could get rid of them simply by wetting the paint, which I'm not wanting to do. Okay, as the paint gets off of the brush, and we can stroke around out here like that. Okay, we're doing pretty doggone good. I'm like super impressed with this. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna come back up here to these clouds with some clean water. Okay, and I'm just gonna put some clean water up here. Okay, and I want to lift some more of that paint. Okay, and we're going to let that water work there for a minute. Then I'm going to just reach in here with a rag, and the paint comes off, but the surface of the paper is not damaged. That's a big thing. Okay, and again, we're lifting some paint. We come in with clean water, we do a light scrub, and then we come in, we can take paint off. Okay, and again, the paper isn't destroyed. Paper's holding its own, and that is exactly what we want. I just got to make the whole cotton picking thing stay where I want it. Now I'm going to come in to some more of that olive green and get some of that blue in it. Okay, just tap my brush a little bit. Now we just come in here. We're just going to spackle around like that. Okay, we can do some lifting, whatever we might want to do. Okay, we can make some lifts. Paper's holding up great. I'll tell you, I think that Baohong is on to something. I think they're doing a great job with their papers. Now we're going to get some green. I'm going to put a little bit of neutral black into it. Okay, we're going to darken that right down. Right down. I want it just a little darker than that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and let's put some trees. Okay, just something to pretend that they're trees. Okay. Just a little tree line like this. Okay. Just a little tree line. Now, we can come across right in here like this. Okay, we got our tree line started. And now, we can come in and we can just scrub some of that paint right back off again. Okay, I'm coming in with some water. Coming in with some water. Okay. Okay, we got us a nice tree line. We'll make some scrapes. Pardon my reach across here. Now, I'm scraping this with the edge of a cut credit card. And the paper isn't coming apart. And that's important. The paper has held up to that really harsh treatment. Okay. Now we come up here to the top and we want this to kind of phase out. Just like this. And again, the paint and the paper are responding to what we want. Okay, now we can come in here and we can just hit a few areas like this. Just hit a few areas, make them just a little bit darker. Okay, just a little darker here. And again, the paper it's holding its own. It's not being hurt by this. I'm going to take some of that dark color. We're going to come down here and pull up some grass. The tooth of the paper is grabbing the paint perfectly. I'll tell you right now, I've been painting a long time, over 60 years. And I love watercolor. And the only thing that's made me hesitant a lot of times about watercolor is the price of a good paper. Okay. And what I have found here is a paper that is absolutely excellent at a great price. And I highly, highly recommend this Baohong watercolor paper to anybody, whether you're a beginner or whether you're a professional. This paper has exceeded anything that I thought it might. So, my evaluation of this paper is very simply, it is on a level with Arch, and I think that you would be just fine if you were to buy this paper and paint with it, whatever your level. And I'm not being paid by Baohong or anybody else. This is my personal opinion, and I've spent the last $100 bill I'm going to spend on Arch paper. I'm making this my watercolor paper from now on. And I think you would be quite pleased if you did that too. Try it out for yourself and see if it matches up to what you think your paper needs to do. So, I'm glad you were with me on this. By golly, we're going to do more of these. And I wish you a great day. Be safe, stay safe. Sling some paint around, and remember that I love you, I love you, I love you.